Okay, looking ahead to match week 4 in the new Premier League season. And don't forget, you can watch all the games on Peacock, on NBCSN, on Big NBC. We'll have you covered with all of that stream link information, team news, previews. That's all up on ProSoccerTalk on NBCSports.com. Gents, I'm going to start with Man United against Tottenham. It's undoubtedly the big game in match week 4. And two managers who are maybe under pressure a little bit, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer and Jose Mourinho. Son's out injured for Spurs. That's a big blow for Tottenham. And both of these teams, they want to obviously finish in the top 4. That's their main priority each season. But when I look at their squads, I see a lot of holes in these squads. And Andy, Tottenham, are they capable of finishing in the top 4 this season with some of these injuries piling up already?
Yes, because I don't know that there's 4 other very good teams in the Premier League this season that don't have significant holes in them the same way that Spurs do.
And what about Manchester United?
Same exact answer. There's maybe this season actually 7 teams if you throw Everton into there, and if you believe that Arsenal, will kind of find the balance and get things right. So yeah, I think it'll be very interesting.
I'm intrigued to see this battle between Harry Kane and Harry Maguire in this game. Obviously, 2 England teammates know each other very well over many years in the Premier League, and Kane always seemed to get one over Maguire and Leicester. Done okay against Man United, but Man United have matched up pretty well against Tottenham in recent seasons. So it'd be interesting because we know that United now are a counter-attacking team, but can they sit back? Because Tottenham like to do the same thing as well, really, under Mourinho. So are we going to see them cancel each other out? I'm not sure. I think with some of the injuries that maybe Man United are slowly getting into their groove, maybe they'll just edge this one, but it will be pretty tight at Old Trafford between these two teams. I think they're very evenly matched. As I said, to get into the top 4, it's probably going to be a successful season if they do that. For Man United, they obviously want to get to that next level, and I don't think they're anywhere near challenging Liverpool, Man City yet this season. So, Nick, your thoughts on Man United Spurs, the big game, and I know you want to focus on another big game coming up this weekend.
For sure, my thoughts on United, fairly simple. I think is Paul Pogba going to show up? And I'm not being that guy who questions whether he cares or anything like that. I just don't think he's been particularly strong this year. The other thing I'll be watching very closely is the fullbacks. Very interesting to see how Spurs look with this new setup. Matt Doherty's had his moments as well. And are we going to see Wan-Bissaka? So there's a lot to look at there. I'm also looking at Chelsea Crystal Palace. Who's going to be back? Who's going to be ready? Are we going to see Ziyech? Are we going to see Pulisic? On paper, this one's a breeze. But Palace is idle this week. Chelsea has Spurs in the League Cup. You look at those goals also that West Brom scored against Chelsea. And I look at what Callum Robinson did, and I wonder if Wilf Zaha is going to do any worse. So I'm looking at Reece James on that right side against Zaha if he gets on his favored left and left side of the pitch, I should say. I think it's going to be interesting. Again, Chelsea should be a breeze, but Roy Hodgson's done some pretty wonderful things over the last couple of years with a roster that is, let's say, overperforming a bit.
Absolutely. And Andy, what's the game you've got your eye on this weekend? There's quite a few out there, but I know one in particular you're looking forward to.
Yeah, Leeds, Man City, another potential kind of tricky, under the radar kind of, upset potential for Man City. We saw what happened to them last week against Leicester City, and there was something that was said in the studio by Mr. Robbie Mustoe after the game that really caught my attention and made me think, and it kind of fits in with the theme of something that we've talked about with multiple clubs, especially the big clubs in the Premier League this week, is what's the plan there? And I don't want to overreact to one loss and a big loss, kind of an embarrassment for a team like City that it was over the weekend. But Robbie said, based on the body language of the players, it looked like the project had run its course. And I thought that was very interesting and also highly debatable. And you can look at that in terms of the squad. They have got some very, very important players that are now on the wrong side of 30, and they are starting to break down. They're not as productive, as reliable as before. But also with the manager. Has Pep Guardiola ever built a team and a squad or done a rebuild And that's kind of the situation that they almost find themselves in coming up in the next 12 or 18 months. And so is he the right person to do that? I think he'll get an opportunity, but how long will that opportunity be? If there's not results immediately, will he be gone? And so I just question kind of what's going on at City. What's the long-term plan there as well? They seem to have been a little bit more organized and had things, kind of set out in front of them than some of the other sides. But that's just a potentially very dangerous situation for a team that I still think only has about 13 or 14 first-team players for the game this weekend. The injuries that they're dealing with, there's so many things going on with them that by the time they get to 7 or 8 games played this season, they could about be out of the title race already once again and kind of just hand it to Liverpool. And I would just like to say now in our season predictions, the only one here that did not pick Manchester City for the title. And, we're 3 games in. They're 2 games in, I think, as well. So it's early. Wow. But look, how are you boys feeling about it?
I think there's something to what Robbie said. I agree with that statement, that could be a concern. But again, they brought in Delap, and there was nothing going. They had no one. Their record is terrible without Laporte. He had a positive COVID test. So, I think it could go down that road. I don't think you're wrong to think that. But again, 13, 14 guys, the guys that they were playing, Aguero and Jesus out. I'm not ready to make that call yet.
It's early in the season, obviously, like Andy said, but I think, we are at Pro Soccer Talk. We want to give our analysis. We want to give these sweeping early sort of predictions. So you guys are doing it at home in the pub with your mates as well. So we're doing exactly the same things, looking at how teams are looking early in the season. And yeah, Leeds Man City, I think, will really show us, A, how good Leeds are, and B, is this a really big issue for Man City? And of course, you can watch that on Saturday, 12:30 Eastern time on the big NBC channel. Really looking forward to that one as Bielsa and Guardiola go head-to-head. This will be a game for the purists, won't it, lads? That'll be really, really good. So one other game I've got my eye on is Aston Villa against Liverpool. 2 perfect teams, locking horns there. Excited to see how Jack Grealish can do against Liverpool. Maybe a few injuries there in midfield. Defensively, I don't want to use the word sloppy because Klopp doesn't like that, but obviously there are a few mistakes early in the season from Liverpool. So can Villa make the most of that? Because they've improved defensively, so that it could be a really good season for them. So really, really big week coming up in the Premier League. Week 4 is going to be interesting. Here at Pro Soccer Talk, we'll have you covered with all the latest team news, analysis, previews, stream links, anything you need ahead of this weekend. We'll have you sorted. And Andy, Nick, and I are really looking forward to it. So all that's left for me to say is thank you for joining us on Pro Soccer Talk. Had a wonderful time chatting, grabbing a beer. We'll probably grab another one later, right, lads, virtually. I'm here in England. Nick is in Buffalo, and Andy is in Kansas City. And we're going to chat about all things Premier League. But head over to Pro Soccer Talk at NBCSports.com, and we'll speak to you all very soon. Cheers.
Hi there, I'm Rebecca Lowe. Make sure you subscribe to watch highlights all season long and always join us every weekend at 7 a.m. on NBCSN for Premier League mornings. Plus, make sure you subscribe to Peacock Premium as well, where you can watch exclusively live 175 games and same-day on-demand replays of all 380 Premier League matches as well.